Every single day in America, over 2 million people wake up behind bars. 2 million. That's more than the entire population of Houston, Texas, locked up right now tonight. But here's the part that stops most people cold. A huge number of those people have not been convicted of any crime. Not guilty, not sentenced, just waiting. And the place they're waiting, it's not a prison. It's something else entirely. Welcome to Tiny But Wise, where we take the small things you ignore every day and reveal the big truths hiding inside them. Today we're cracking open one of the most misunderstood distinctions in the entire American legal system. Jail versus prison. Two words that movies, TV shows, and everyday conversation use completely interchangeably. But they are not the same thing. Not even close. And once you understand a real difference, the way you see news stories, courtroom dramas, and criminal justice debates will never be the same again. Here's what I want you to think about before we go any further. Have you ever watched a news report where someone gets arrested and the anchor says they were sent to jail, and you just nodded along without questioning it? Have you ever wondered why some people serve their entire sentence and get out, while others seem to disappear into the system for years? And here's the one that should genuinely unsettle you. Did you know that in America right now, you could be locked up for months, lose your job, lose your apartment, lose custody of your children, and then be released with zero conviction, zero sentence, and zero compensation? Just because of the difference between these two words. Let's start at the beginning. When someone is arrested in the United States, let's say a person gets picked up on a Monday morning in Chicago, they don't go to prison. Not yet. Not even close. They go to jail. And that distinction matters enormously. Jail is a short-term holding facility. It is run by local government, typically a county sheriff's office or city police department. Every county in America has one or access to one. Its primary purpose is to hold people who have just been arrested and are waiting for what comes next. That might be a bail hearing, a court appearance, a trial, or a transfer. Jails also hold people who have already been sentenced, but only to short terms, typically less than 1 year. A misdemeanor conviction that carries a 90-day sentence? That person serves their time in jail, not prison. Prison, on the other hand, is a completely different animal. Prisons are run by either the state government or the federal government, not local authorities. They house people who have been convicted of serious crimes and sentenced to longer terms, generally 1 year or more. When a judge sentences someone to 5 years for armed robbery or 10 years for drug trafficking, that person goes to a state or federal prison. Think of facilities like San Quentin in California, Rikers Island in New York, actually a jail complex which we'll come back to, or the United States Penitentiary in Leavenworth, Kansas. These are large, long-term facilities designed for extended incarceration. So here's the simplest way to think about it. Jail is the beginning of the journey through the legal system. Prison is the destination for those who are convicted and sentenced to significant time. Jail is local and temporary. Prison is governmental and long-term. But now here's where it gets complicated and uncomfortable, because the reality of who is actually sitting in American jails right now is something that most people don't know and probably should. Roughly 65% of people in American jails on any given day have not been convicted of anything. They are there because they were arrested and could not afford bail. That's it. They haven't been found guilty. They haven't been sentenced. They are legally presumed innocent. But they can't post the $500 or $1,000 or $5,000 bail that would let them go home while they wait for trial. So they sit days, weeks, sometimes months, in a local jail, waiting for the legal process to grind forward. This is called pretrial detention, and it has consequences that ripple out far beyond the cell walls. Studies show that people who are detained pretrial, even for just a few days, are significantly more likely to lose their jobs, more likely to lose their housing, more likely to accept a guilty plea even if they are innocent, simply to get out faster. The pressure of sitting in jail, watching your life fall apart on the outside, can make a plea deal, even a false one, feel like the only rational choice. And once you accept that plea, you have a criminal record. Forever. Now here's the twist that reframes the entire conversation. Most people, when they picture jail, imagine something temporary and relatively minor. And when they picture prison, they imagine the serious, dangerous, high-stakes environment. But in many ways, jail can actually be more chaotic, more dangerous, and more psychologically damaging than prison. Here's why. Prisons, for all their brutality, are structured environments. They have established routines, programs, libraries, yards, and long-term systems. People know each other. The social order, however grim, exists. Prison inmates have usually been processed, classified, and placed according to their offense level and behavior history. Jails are chaotic by nature. They take in new people constantly. Every arrest in the county flows through. Someone arrested for shoplifting is in the same facility as someone arrested for assault. First-time offenders are processed alongside repeat offenders. People are coming and going at all hours. There are far fewer programs, far fewer resources, and far less stability. And because stays are theoretically short, there's less investment in rehabilitation, mental health services, or education. You're just there, waiting. Rikers Island in New York City is perhaps the most famous example of this chaos. Rikers is technically a jail, a pretrial detention facility, and short sentence facility for New York City. But it houses roughly 5,500 people at any given time, has a long and documented history of violence, and has been the subject of federal investigations and reform demands for decades. It is, by almost any measure, one of the most dangerous and troubled correctional facilities in the country. And it's a jail, not a prison. The federal system adds another layer of complexity. Federal prisons house people convicted of federal crimes, crimes that cross state lines or violate federal law. Drug trafficking on a large scale, bank robbery, federal tax fraud, immigration offenses, terrorism. These cases go through the federal court system and land in federal prison, which is separate from any state system. A person convicted of a state crime in Texas serves time in a Texas state prison. A person convicted of a federal crime in Texas serves time in a federal facility that might be located in a completely different state entirely. And then there's a third category that most people forget entirely: immigration detention centers. These are facilities that hold people who are not citizens and are facing deportation or immigration proceedings. They are technically neither jails nor prisons. They are run by the Department of Homeland Security, specifically ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The people inside them have not necessarily committed any crime under criminal law. They are held in a kind of civil legal limbo. Yet the facilities often look and function remarkably like jails, with cells, guards, and restricted movement. So here's the picture in full. You have jails, local, short-term, chaotic, full of people who haven't been convicted of anything. You have state prisons, long-term facilities for people convicted of serious state crimes. You have federal prisons, long-term facilities for federal offenders. And you have immigration detention, a parallel system operating under entirely different legal authority. For distinct systems, often blurred together under the single word incarceration, housing over 2 million human beings in the United States alone. The most powerful insight in all of this is not about buildings or bureaucracy. It's about what these distinctions reveal about the system itself. When someone who is legally innocent can lose their job, their home, and their family while sitting in a county jail waiting for a trial they may never lose, the distinction between guilt and punishment has already collapsed. Jail and prison are not the same word. They are not the same place. And they are not the same experience. The difference between them is not just legal vocabulary. It's the difference between waiting and serving, between accused and convicted, between a system that presumes innocence and one that is still learning what that actually means in practice. So here's what I'll leave you with. If you were arrested tomorrow for something you didn't do, and bail was set at $1,000 you didn't have, how long do you think you could hold your life together from inside a jail cell? If you found this video valuable and learned something new, do us a favor, like subscribe to Tiny But Wise and share it with your loved ones. Now your turn. Drop a comment with the next topic. We read every comment, and the best suggestion gets a shout out. See you there.